It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Hey, today I want to bring Wes McCarter on from NEXERA because we want to do an update on the numbers. You know, we finished off 2020. What a miserable year. We're in the first month of 2021, and I think it was a good time to update the numbers, and I want to talk about some other stuff regarding NEXERA. Wes, how are you doing, my friend?
Happy New Year, Ray. Thank you very much for having me on.
Well, Wes, you know, it all started with I get a phone call a couple weeks ago, okay? I get a phone call, and the gentleman says, Ray, where can I get some data that would allow me to figure out what it costs to service a particular brand and model? And I said, well, just call NEXERA. They got all the data. They got world stats and all that stuff. And I'm trying to think to myself, it seems like this person was trying to figure out how to reinvent what already exists. And I've done a couple of videos on this. The imaging channel is in a position where they need to use the tools that work best right now in the marketplace so they can clean up their cost, both in sales and in service. You got to clean up cost, because we can't make it up for declining volume. And so I wanted to make sure that my friends in the imaging channel understood your IDOS platform, which helps dealers price equipment based on brand and model without doing a meter. I think that's important. And I wanted to understand your World Stats database. So let's start with World Stats. Where are we at with volume and tech calls?
So World Stats is our term for the composite of all the data that we receive from our customers around the world. So that's a little over 4 million devices. One of the key benefits of World Stats is it gives dealers an opportunity to see what performance looks like in mass everywhere else, excluding themselves, so that they get a reference point. So that's the key about having this, because if you're selling a machine for the first time, you've got one or two, and you've got the manufacturer's recommendations, and that's it. World Stats starts building really quickly and starts giving you real world advice on what that machine performance and cost is going to look like. But to answer your question directly, obviously December is a holiday month, so we expected to see a little bit of a decline. Page volume did exactly what we expected to do. It kind of fell down a little bit compared to where it was. It actually dropped from the perspective of, well, we had at the peak, we were at about 12 billion pages a month. Dropped to 6.9 in December from the previous month of 7.6. So it did drop about 1.3 billion pages, mostly as a function of a lot of businesses we talked to shut down between Christmas and New Year's because of this activity. And we have a lot of EU-based business, so a lot of the EU countries obviously shut down for extended periods of time during the holidays. Service call volume dropped from a peak of about 725,000 down to 406. It was 491 last month, so it did about a 90,000 drop in service calls from one month to the next. Parts did the same thing, about $4 billion worth of parts dropped off the system in that month between November and December.
Well, Wes, realistically, we're still almost 50% less in volume and in service calls from where we were before this pandemic started. We're, our 12th month in it, all coming up, and, we've got to start paying attention to real data. And, and I'm just thinking about, this gentleman that asked me that question, I'm like, just call up NEXERA and figure out how to make something happen. But maybe they don't understand quite how you're compensated, and I don't expect you to give all your pricing on the end of the day with Ray here today, Wes, but at the end of the day, if we engage with you, you have all these different platforms. I call you the cleanup people because you can help them clean up their automate. You can make sure that they're counting all their activity the right way as far as call types go, which is extremely important. And how are they, managing callbacks, extremely important. So in order for the data to be clean, all the users have to do it the same way. Otherwise, you got a bunch of crap in, crap out. And, so if I'm a dealer owner and I reach out to NEXERA, I'm going to pay a fee per tech. Is that what it is, or do you have project work in there? Explain to me how that works.
So essentially, one of the benefits of having our product in your organization is that we function much like a financial audit does. Every dealer takes their financials and has it audited by an external source to validate and make sure that it's accurate. Think of us in that term from all of the service perspective. So first step is when we take the data in, we analyze it to ensure that it's following practices and it's accurate. If there's something wrong, we'll tell you, identify it and fix it so that going forward, the data is accurate. We want to make sure that those pieces of that puzzle are correct. Then we normalize it so that everybody's calling an apple an apple. Doesn't change the outcome of the data, but still calls it an apple. An apple. the goal there to make sure that when we compare your performance to the world, we know exactly what we're comparing it with, and the standards and measurements and math is all exactly the same. Mm-hmm. No one else can do that. Then so that whole function of that program is based on the idea that if we save you one service call per tech per month, the program is essentially paid for itself.
Okay.
Eliminating a service call as a function of either improving hold for parts, callbacks, machine performance, whatever. So that's the basis of our service package. Everything else that we do is project-based. So we do everything from cleaning up and managing your FM audit servers, the payables, receivables, contract management. We have virtual service management packages. So all of those are basically project-based, and it's looking at how much time and effort is it going to take to get you where you need to be, and then manage it from that point forward.
And obviously you have a cooperation with ECI, the eAutomate folks that have both the eAutomate and Print and Print Audit. You guys work, and how long have you been working together with those folks?
Well, we've been doing the administrative functions for 2 years, and the service obviously for 26 years. Yeah. So we've been doing that for a long time. Our expertise are all people on our team that have come from dealerships and that have actual administrative work with the eAutomate as well as the CPAs.
So once they engage you, let me ask you this question. Let's say that I'm a mess, okay? You know, everything's a mess. You guys got to do a lot of project work in essence. Would you allow that bill to be paid over a contract term of a month added to my monthly fee, or do I have to pay all that up front? Would you?
Well, it depends on the project. So first we analyze how much time it's going to take to get it done, and we'll quote you a specific rate to get you to square one, right? Okay. Get everything cleaned up and accurate, and then look at how much work do you want us to take over. If you only want small portions of it, it's just based on the amount of hours that you'd like us to invest in managing those functions for you.
Okay, well you know, Wes, here's a scenario that I thought of when this gentleman called me. You know, I had surgery a couple weeks ago and I was laid up for like 3 days. And I get up in the morning, I look in the mirror and I look like crap on that third day. I mean, I really look like crap. I didn't go to Amazon and buy a new damn mirror. You know, I looked in the mirror and I said, I can fix this. This is up to me. Let me go fix it. And I think NEXERA is that mirror. It's the mirror for the industry because it allows those dealers to really see the problems, and then it gives you the tools to fix the problems. And over the last 10 months, and it's frustrating, and I've done some videos on this, it seems like there's too many people focusing on trying to, you know, reinvent the tools that work, that are efficient, because maybe they're not getting the information they want. They're buying a new mirror. And that's just not going to get us to the next space, to the next place. You know, when I was with you, and I want to know if you're still doing this or if you've ramped it up a little bit, but you had a program where you could actually take over the management of a service department for a dealership through a virtual platform. And how does that work? And have you grown in that business space?
Yes, we actually have. And the program is really quite simple because all of the data and the solutions exist to manage remotely now. We simply step into that role as either an adjunct trainer. So if you've got someone who has the requisite skills but doesn't have the training and understand how to do that, we work in partnership with them and train them by simply having them shadow us in that role. So as we do our assessments with the technicians, as we manage territories, as we manage inventory, they get to see how that process works. And slowly over time, they can start assuming some of those responsibilities and phasing us out of that role if they choose to. One of the benefits of having an outsourced process like this is that, one, we're easy to fire if we don't do our jobs, right? So the complications and the pain that we go through with employees is that you've got to do everything right from an HR perspective in order to eliminate that position. Well, that doesn't have that problem with vendors. You either do the job or you fire them and find someone else. Two, we learn how to do it more efficiently because our team does nothing else but that. So they get really efficient at it because we make more money if we're doing it efficiently, right? So that means we have to invest less time and money on the dealer side to get the same job done. And we stay up to date with the current versions and technologies that exist, which is usually a major challenge because platforms evolve over time and people have to try to stay up with it, right? So it's hard to do that, whereas our team is focused on getting that done and doing it very efficiently.
Well, you know, I would come out of the sales side of our business. And if you don't hit your numbers and you're not performing in sales, you're gone. And, you know, in service has kind of they've really had an ability to hide a lot of mismanagement, let's be honest, because of the volume of clicks. I did a video not too long ago and I talked about how the dealers really make their money on the machines that aren't being serviced, not on the ones that are being serviced. It's that, you know, those thousands of machines that sit in their base that they don't go call on, but they collect meters on. You know, some of the money that we're seeing in profits over this last year. I mean, there's dealers talking about how much money they're making, and I keep, wait a second, you're not making any money, you're just saving money. You know, you're not delivered or performing against money that you're collecting. So I just wanted to bring it, you know, that your awareness to the marketplace, Wes, because I just, it's frustrating after 11 months and we still people that don't quite understand, you know, what you're doing from a data perspective, and they don't need to go reinvent stuff that already exists. So one final thing I want to ask now, you will do an assessment. If you get the data from them and you scrub 2 years of data, you'll go back and give them a mini assessment. Are you still doing that at no cost?
Absolutely. So the assessment on the service side is at no cost. We can do evaluations on all of the other aspects of the system. So payables, receivables, general ledger, chart of accounts, all of those things can be audited as well, but we charge for those because they're number one is more sensitive. But we do an assessment completely about how your service organization is performing, and then we can also make suggestions on how to improve those things, and that's at no charge.
Well, you know, we're going to see what happens in 2021, but we cannot sell our way out of mismanagement in a declining marketplace. And we can't keep switching mirrors because we don't like what we see. And we got to start buckling down. And I'm hoping that the dealers buckle down and really start paying attention to NEXERA and all the things that you can do for them, because I think you're doing wonderful things for the channel, especially in this time of pure disruption and declines. And by your own numbers, 4 million devices. What do you have, like 15,000 technicians in that pool as well? You know, and we're 50% of where we were, a little bit more than 50% of where we were. That's not a good thing. And, you know, we still got to get through this quarter for sure. So, Wes, is there anything you want to add before I end?
Yeah, I want to challenge dealers. You know, we've had benchmarks and models forever, and those have definitely been good things. We've made our living off being a benchmark company. But what we've realized over the last 4 or 5 years is that it's not about the benchmark. The benchmark is average. What you want is what's possible. Mm-hmm. What our data shows you is what's possible. How good can you be? Not being good to a standard that's average already. Let's talk about what's possible.
Which is a great thing, because possibilities become probabilities quicker than ever. Wes, it was great having you on. I appreciate your time, because we all know this: status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow.